Hello, you are welcome to my channel. If you are a returning subscriber, what's good? If you are new, hey boo, I am back with another video. And so we are just gonna hop straight into it, and y'all see the title. Now, I was just basically reflecting on the videos that I made in the past where I talked about how to spot work spiritual warfare, and I did say that I was gonna continue a series about that, and I'm just gonna kind of pick up and continue where I left off, but we are gonna delve more into specifics with spiritual warfare at work, and we're going to talk about jealous women at work. Okay, I think somebody requested this video a while back. The one thing I could say I have noticed about jealousy from women at work is that I really do feel like, and you may not agree with this, but I'm just speaking based off of personal experience, you are always going to be more successful working around men than women. Okay, because the one thing I could say I have noticed working around women, it never works out. It's always some cattiness going on. I just feel like a lot of women are just catty by nature, and if you want to avoid that, then I feel like working at a job where it's less women would probably be more preferable for you. And y'all know I'm gonna get some personal experiences, some little story times. Jealousy in the workplace. Another thing too I want to point out, and I think I may start making separate story times on how I have spotted jealousy from women in workplaces. Now, another thing you might have experienced is that women may feel some type of way because you may get male attention on the job. You may be getting it from the boss, or supervisor, other co-workers, and some of these women may feel some type of way because they may like this particular person and they're not giving them the attention that they're giving you. And so they're going to be trying to set up scenarios and situations to where y'all can have this one-up competition for this man's attention. Real petty and childish. And I said before, the jealous, insecure women, they're immature. They act in a childlike kind of manner. Jealous, insecure women, they are always setting up imaginary beefs in competition with you. Okay, so this man may be giving you attention. You may not even like this guy, but because she like him, then y'all automatically got beef. The one thing I could say I have noticed about being in certain workplaces, I have noticed the change in the behavior of people and the treatment in male-dominated workplaces and female-dominated workplaces. So say for instance, if you work a job, if you work at Sephora or you work at clothing store, and I'm just reflecting on certain things, I'm just like, man, you know, most of them jobs where it was just mostly women, I never last working there because of jealousy. It's something about jealous people in a workplace to where you kind of get the sense that they don't really want you to, you know, they don't want you to make no money. That's all it is. So they want to make your life a living hell and stress you out for the entire 8-hour shift or however long you are there. Okay, don't let you be a woman that take care of herself. Okay, a woman that may be well polished. They gonna give you all types of hell. And this is the thing about it, why I say it's important to take care of your appearance. I don't know, some people when it comes to work, they just don't care about how they put themselves together. If you working at a clothing store, why would you not want to look on point? And that was my whole issue with it, where the reason why I feel like it's important to kind of put yourself together is because it's about your presentation. You're gonna be interacting with customers all day. You're gonna be in people's faces. So, and that's how you're going to attract sales too. And that's another thing I have noticed about jealous women, where I say they always seem to have an issue with how you put yourself together. Like, literally, I'm bringing money in. What is the issue? And where you coming from with this energy? For the women that know what I'm talking about, whenever you put yourself together at work, more customers come. Because people are more attracted and drawn to what they see visually. And a lot of people don't want to accept this fact, is that we live in a very superficial world. People are drawn by what they see visually. So if you put yourself together, you are going to get more sales. How you show up in the world is extremely important. I have said that plenty of times on my channel. And the one thing you will notice about jealous women, a lot of them, and I'm just coming in keeping it real, a lot of them are the type of women that they don't really keep themselves together. They may look like they just rolled out of bed and they're getting upset and mad at you because you put more effort into your appearance. When you are presentable to the public, people will approach you. So it's just like, y'all sitting up hating when the whole time I'm bringing y'all sales up in here. I've heard a lot of healthcare workers talk about this sort of thing too, to where they are heavily critiqued about their work attire. It's like, okay, if you work in the healthcare field, you wearing scrubs, you know, you gotta tone your appearance down just a little bit. But jealous women will come at you for any little thing. You could be wearing scrubs, but they don't like the fact that you might wear makeup, your nails may be done. And I know because I worked in the healthcare field before too, and so your nails can't be a certain length, but they still will be trying to critique your appearance. Like, they don't want you to operating your individuality and your personality within a workplace. They kind of want you to blend in with them. And that's another thing you will notice about jealous women, is that it's something about you that they don't like. It's your individuality, it's your personality, it's your style that they are intimidated and threatened by. And so when you're in a workspace with them, they're gonna attack you based off of those features and those qualities. And I have seen the different dynamics within certain workspaces to where it does not matter where you are at. If it's female dominated, then you are probably gonna experience the most jealousy. The one thing I could say is when you are around men, you don't really have this issue. And I spoke about this in my workplace warfare where I talked about lust, where I said you are probably going to deal with a lot of harassment on the job for men because they may like you. And that can come with some drama too. And we probably going to get into that later on in the video where I talked about jealousy at work. But for the most part, men are not really... Well, let me take that back, okay? Because some men can be drama kings and they can keep up a lot of stuff, but not as much as women. Men, they don't really care. You know, they come to work to make their money and they go home. They not really bothersome as much as women, okay? It's always got to be something going on with a woman. And that's why I feel like it's more preferable to work around men. If you really see yourself staying at a certain job for a long period of time, then working around men, it's going to help you because you are not going to have to deal with that cattiness. Now, let me just say this. You are going to probably have some women that you may work with, but if this woman is sure of herself, like I always like to come and speak about on my channel, a woman that is confident and sure of herself, she's not going to feel no type of way about the next woman, even within the workplace. Now, I have worked at certain jobs where I've had great relationships with women, but that's rare. Okay, that was very rare for me. I think I could count on one hand how many jobs I've had with other women to where they was just cool. You know, we ain't never had no issues. But for the most part, the job that I have worked at where it was jealousy, it came mainly from women. That's just how it is. When you are in the workplace, it's something about money. They try to say money is the root of all evil and money cannot buy you happiness, but it can get your bills paid and it can buy you the things that you want. Okay, so that comes with happiness of some sort, but it's something about jealous people to where they don't want to see you having any sort of joy. So they don't want to see you making no money. Okay, y'all both seem doing the same job, y'all making the same pay, so why do it seem as though they're trying to make it hard for you? I'm just reflecting on some jobs that I've had. I remember this, oh my god, yeah, I remember this one particular job. When you see certain things like this in the workplace, you be trying to ignore it, but it's just like, dang, why it always gotta be with us women to where we can't never get along? And I'm talking about us women in general. You know, I'm not speaking race specific, but why we can't never get along at work? I remember one particular job. I was working at JCPenney. It was connected to my local mall. And really that's what made me want to work there, was because I always wanted to work at the mall because I like to shop. And so I'm like, I could see myself working here and then really just literally going shopping right after work. And so that was my whole mindset with it. I was doing merchandising coding. So it's like, you know, you put the stuff out on the sales floor, you code it, and, you know, that was just basically all I was doing. And I was doing a lot of markdowns and stuff like that. But I just had to reflect on the job interview process at JCPenney. And I wanted to work at JCPenney because I had nostalgic memories of JCPenney. My grandmother loved that store. And I remember we used to always go to this store when I was a little girl. I used to always be hyped to go to JCPenney and stuff like that. And so I was just like, you know what? I want to work at JCPenney. And actually, it was a Sephora that was inside of there. I had actually thought about working at as well. I'm just going to tell you the difference in certain workspaces, how you can really be successful. I wouldn't necessarily say avoid jealousy altogether, but
just to make your work experience more enjoyable and tolerable. Okay, because nobody wants to go to a job that they miserable at. You want to make your money, yeah, you want to pay your bills, but you want to actually enjoy what it is that you do. I don't understand people that work at jobs that they hate. If you don't like working here, then why are you here? Go to a place where you fit in more. If this ain't your thing, you don't like doing this, fashion ain't your thing, you don't like, why are you here? You know how y'all see them rude workers to where you can tell they really hate their job. Don't be at a job that you hate, because you're going to bring that energy into the work environment. It ain't cool and it ain't fair to nobody else.
But when I was working at this job, I remember the job interview. She was cool. But you know how when you be at an interview, you can already tell that you are 9 times out of 10 probably going to end up having issues with this particular person. Because, I don't know, you just be getting that certain vibe that when I do interviews, I always look at the person like, is this somebody that I could see myself getting along with outside of work? Like, if you was to ever run into this person out in public and y'all didn't know each other, how would they treat you? You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I've always looked at people whenever I go to certain job interviews. I always try to picture them outside of their work environment. Is this person cool? Would they treat me right if we went here? And when I was looking at her, I was just getting all type of iffy kind of bad. And I told y'all the certain town where I stayed, that do kind of play a major part in it as well. And I said I was going to get back on how to spot spiritual warfare at work and how to deal with jealousy at work. But when I was at the job interview, it was smooth sailing. And you know how you could tell they're going to give you the job. She was really cool in the beginning. She told me our work attire, we had to wear all black. And I think I may insert the picture, but it was just hell from the very start, okay? I kind of sensed it, but then again, I didn't. Because when you go to a job interview, you kind of get a feel of the place. Like, you kind of already know what you are walking into. They may give you a work tour. You may end up meeting some of the co-workers before you start. And so you just kind of get a feel of everybody's personality. Are you going to vibe with certain people? And y'all know I'm a spiritual girly. And so, you know, I pick up on vibes really quick. And so once I seen that all them women was there, I'm like, wow, I got my work cut out for me, okay? But yeah, long story short, I started working there, and it was like all the way on the other side of town. Like, literally, I would have to leave out 30 minutes before I had to go to work just to make sure I got there on time, because I had to work in the morning. And y'all already know how work traffic is. You literally have to leave way ahead of time to beat that work traffic. I used to have to get there right as they was opening. Just thinking back on this, I'm like, this was so nasty. But I started the job, and I'm thinking, like, you know, it's gonna be cool. The environment was kind of like quiet and peaceful. And that's another thing I have always liked about certain jobs. And I said this before, certain jobs you have to know how to turn down. And this was one job to where I felt like this would have been the right choice for me, just based off the environment. It seemed like it was real chill and mellow. I don't like too much going on at work. You know, I want to be able to come and get my money, clock my hours, and go home. That's it. No extras. But it came with all the extras, okay? Baby, glitter, sprinkles, all of that. But we're gonna get into it later. It really wasn't nothing that was too hard. For the ones that have done merchandising and coding, y'all know how that go. But I just remember that it was this one particular woman that they had teamed me up with for training. First off, and I'm not saying this to be mean, but you just come across them people to where their voice is annoying. My tone of voice, the way that I talk, may be annoying to people, but this one particular woman, her voice was very annoying. Very high pitched and squeaky. The one thing that put me off, it wasn't necessarily her tone, but you know how them people talk in a very condescending kind of way? That was who she was. So she had a high pitched, squeaky kind of voice with a condescending undertone. Y'all know them people, okay? I don't have to paint the picture for you. And I'm like, wow. But the lady that had hired me, I started noticing that her behavior was changing.
And I'm gonna bring race into it because this do play a major part when it comes to spotting spiritual warfare.
If you are a highly discerning, highly intuitive person, you are going to be able to pick up on the warfare during the hiring process. And so it's just a whole you'll do kind of thing. It's a whole initiation process that they do too. When it comes to the whole racism thing, I said before, when it comes to job interviews and spiritual warfare and stuff like that, you are going to be able to read a person's aura and spirit in the beginning. Now, people that are racist, they do have a predatory kind of nature. They like to read your energy and your aura in the beginning to try to see what it is that they can try to pull with you, or are you going to be the one that they could try? Okay? They reading your spirit and your aura at the interview. Please believe it.
Racism is spiritual warfare. So the one thing you will notice with the whole fake nice kind of energy at the interview is that some of these people, and I stated this before, that they don't really want you there. But this may be a certain place where they may be understaffed or they really need workers. And so they'll put up that whole fake facade like they really like you and they really want you on board, when really it's the total opposite, okay? They just don't got nobody else that may want to work there.
jealous women, they had this whole fake nice kind of aura that they do, and she was acting like that in the beginning, like she was cool. I thought she was cool at first, but she flipped on me real quick. But when they teamed me up with this other woman, I could tell that it was other people at the job that didn't like her either, and I think it was just because it was her voice. But I'm the type of person that I really want to get a chance to know a person. I don't like being too judgy. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I like to give people a chance, because I'm like, okay, she got an annoying voice, but she could really be cool. She really could be a nice person, because really, when you come across certain people like that, they usually be the nicest people. But she was the total opposite, and we're gonna get into it. The one thing I could say I noticed about her, now let me just say this too, because I feel like this played the main factor in this woman's behavior. Racism is a part of spirituality, and this is also a spiritual channel, and so we're gonna talk about it. But I kind of had got the sense that this woman didn't like black people. That's just the vibes that I got. Actually, I had got a vibe from a few of the people that worked there. I was the only black one that was working there, y'all. And so it was tension just from the start. It was that fake nice kind of aura, but you can clearly tell when a certain group of people just don't like you because you black, but they just putting up with you and they just tolerate it, and because y'all got to work together. And it's so crazy, because it's like when the interview process started, you do the paperwork, they do say, oh, we don't tolerate discrimination. They talk about workplace conflict, racism, and things like that. They say that it's not tolerated here. And so when you get the whole undertones of racism, like they can't really blatantly outright let you know that they don't like you because you're black, but it's gonna come out through their behavior. You know, auras and energies don't lie. You don't have to open your mouth, and you can know that a person don't like you because you black. I talked about this a while back in my series. I like to do this whole thing every February, Black History Month, where I like to speak on topics about black issues. And I started a series called My Skin Is Black, where I talk about another workplace experience that I had with some jealous women, to where I went through the similar thing. But this job right here with this one particular woman, we was getting to know each other, and she was just training me, but I could clearly tell that she didn't want to be sad to me. Like, she didn't want to work with me. She was having me do a lot of things, but I could tell that she was purposely giving me this stuff. And I don't know, it was just the way that she was coming off. It was just like, y'all know how y'all could tell when somebody just, they want to get rid of you, like they really just don't want you there, so they want to try to give you all these different tasks at once to overwhelm you, so that you can get stressed out, or you may want to leave. Because like I said, when it comes to workplace warfare, jealousy, racism, those are all major factors in a toxic working environment. That stuff is going to be blatant. It ain't going to be nothing that you could really overlook. We had to talk about, I said I'm going back to school for fashion, and we just got to talking about the styles of the clothes, because the one thing I could say, they had complimented me on my style. They said, oh, you dress really nice, you look real nice. Because even though we had to wear our black, I've just always been one of them type of workers to where if I gotta wear uniform, I'm gonna style my uniform up. I'm gonna wear jewelry, I'm gonna wear my makeup, I'm gonna still have my individuality and my personality at work. It's just something about looking like everybody else. I kind of like to stand out at work. But she did compliment me on my style. She was like, you know, you can probably dress store mannequins. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was on it with that. That to make my job easier, because it ain't nothing for me to style a mannequin. And it was just like, when I had agreed to dress the mannequins, her behavior and her attitude just flipped. It was just like, when we got to dress the mannequins, it do take a nice little minute, because you got to go by seasons, you got to go by style. And I'm just gonna be bluntly honest, a black woman's style and a white woman's style is completely different. Okay, it's a code book that we got to go back. And so I was dressing them a certain way, but I still put my style on it just a little bit, because she did tell me, she was like, oh, do whatever you want with the mannequin, style it however you want, and just make sure you stay within the codes and the seasons and the colors, and you know, like that. And so I'm like, okay, cool. But the one thing I could say I noticed about this woman was, every time I was around her, because you know, when you working with certain people, they training you, you want to kind of build a relationship with them and stuff like that. I was just trying to get to know her, and it was just like, she was real short with me, and you could clearly tell she ain't want to work with me. And the reason why I say I knew this was because she was like one of them, oh, how you doing? You know, that fake, that was her voice and that was her personality. But it was just, I could tell that she didn't want to work with me because I was a black woman. It was just like that whole bubbly, friendly kind of energy that she was giving off. it was like whenever she would see me, it would just switch and flip. Her vibe was just off, y'all. And I know y'all probably think like, oh, maybe you just over exaggerate. No, okay. And another thing I had noticed about the job, I noticed that the other women that worked there, they was annoyed by her too. And I ain't never been one to really get into workplace gossip. I stayed to myself at the job, and that's another thing too that you will notice about jealousy within the workplace. And being a woman, working around a lot of women, it's just always a lot of underhanded, unspoken kind of tension between women, and it's just nasty. But it was like this back office where we would have to go for our lunch break. The woman that had hired me, she was working like in a second office away from the elevator, because I would have to work the first floor and the second floor sometimes, and I would have to take the elevator up to the second floor. And every time, I kid you not, y'all, every time I would walk past this woman office, this was the woman that hired me, not the annoying voice woman, the trainer, but it was just like when I walked past the office, it would be her and another co-worker in there. Whenever they would see me, they would just stop talking. You know how you could tell somebody been talking about you, right? Because this is like the minute you come in the room, they just silence, and then you could read the energy. It's like, y'all been talking about me, but it's all good. And that's another thing too about me. When I go to certain workplaces and I notice that women are real gossipy and catty, y'all usually never really pay no man to it, because I know certain women, they are just that way. Ain't really nothing that you could change. But I was thinking like, girl, you was trying to be my best friend in an interview, but you here being fake and phony with this other coworker. And that's another thing that be annoying me about women. And this is another reason why I told you I don't have a lot of friends, because women, they be real fake. I would respect you more if you just showed me that you didn't like me, okay? Instead of putting up a front, a facade, and being fake. And that's the one thing I had noticed about her when I first started working there. It was that fake nice type of thing. But this one particular day, this stuff pissed me off. Mind you, I gotta code the clothes, I gotta scan everything, I gotta put out seal items, I gotta print papers. I have to do a lot. It was this gay dude that worked there too, and he rubbed me wrong too. And that's another thing I would say. Some gay men, not all, are very catty. They act just like women, okay? And so he had kind of gave off that vibe, and I could tell he was a little racist too, because man, I told y'all I like to wear nails. I never forget this one particular day. I had went to Chicago, I think like a week before I had to work, and I had went for my birthday. Every time I go to the city, I always like to wear my nails done. When I had came back to work, I like to wear my nails long, but not all the time. But I wanted, a little razzle dazzle. It's my birthday, I want to show up and show out. And so I had a lot of designs on my nails. They had looked at my nails. Now, man you, this is a woman dominated kind of workplace, and there are white women, okay? I told y'all in the beginning of the video that this is just my opinion, okay? White women's style and black women's style is completely different. And so I think they had a little problem with the way that I used to dress too, because they used to say certain things about what I had wore, like we have to wear all black, but I used to wear gold jewelry, my nails would be done, you had to wear black shoes. When I first started this job, I think it was like around the winter time, and so I would wear my black boots or just some black comfortable shoes. And you know how you could tell people just be feeling some type of way about you. They always was complimenting me, but at the same time they was trying to make it seem like I was doing too much. Like, I ain't really doing much. The only thing I got on is like probably some, and I'm just thinking like, this JCPenney, this is a whole clothing jewelry store. Why is y'all low-key trying to come down on me about how I'm dressing? That stuff started to irritate me too. It was just like every time I would come to work, I would just get this whole energy like, ugh, I really don't want her here. We're gonna try to get rid of her type of energy. This one particular day, where I had to do coding on a different floor, this was the area where the gay guy worked. And he worked close by the men's department. He had to be white or Hispanic, one of them. I noticed that he kept giving me a nasty look. Every time I would pass his area or go close by, he'd look right over at me. Like, literally, he could be checking some people out, and the minute he see me, he just giving me this nasty, distasteful kind of look. Now, man, y'all, I think I'm gonna insert a picture of what I was wearing this day too, because I will never forget this. I'm gonna come and give stories about the racism I've encountered in certain workplaces, but This stuff was so nasty. He was just always giving me this nasty look. But I remember one day I was coding and he had came over by me. He said in this real nasty tone, he was like, how are you coding in those nails? And I could tell that they had been talking about me to him because he didn't know me like that. I think when I was doing the training, the orientation, you know how they give you a work tour, they kind of walk you through. I don't think I did see him when I first started working here. He didn't know me. I think this was the first meeting with him. So I could tell that the ladies had been talking about me to him because that's the first thing he mentioned when he came over to me. Oh, how are you coding in those nails? And I was like, just like how I've been doing. Like, what you mean? How's that affecting my work performance? I've worked with long nails before, so it's not an issue. But it was just like his whole approach was just all wrong. And I'm just gonna say this. Racist white people, they always try to perceive every black person as being ghetto. So when he made the comment about the nails, he said it in a way like, oh, your nails are long, ghetto, and ratchet. That was his whole undertone. And I'm like, imagine y'all, my nails, if I show y'all the picture, I'm gonna show y'all the picture of my nails. That ain't compared to how long I have seen other people nails. So he threw me off with that. He gave me nasty energy. The annoying voice woman, she started giving me real nasty energy too. And the woman that hired me, she had me work on a different floor one day. And I'm hanging up the clothes and bringing out clothing racks and I'm doing a lot, okay? The one thing people, they could never say that I didn't do my job. I have great work ethic. When I come to work, I really come and do my job, okay? I don't stack off because, and see, this is another thing too, the difference, the dynamics between working around men and women. Now, when you work around men, then you could probably get away with a little more, you know what I'm saying? But if you're around women, you really got to do your job. Times 10, because they're gonna be on your tail about everything. I started noticing that they always seem to have something to say about what I did, and I knew that it was intentional. Like, you could tell when somebody trying to get rid of you, and that's what they was doing. But the woman that had hired me, y'all know just off of my channel what type of person I am. I'm real kind, and so when I see somebody, I'm gonna speak. And every time I see this woman, she was always giving this whole fake hate. This one particular day, the vase was just off. It was weird. This is another thing I would notice they would always do too. They have me bring items out to the floor. Basically, the way that I would have to address the mannequins, that's what I would have to do with the sales items. Certain seasons are out, you got to take that stuff off the floor and you got to put the new items out. So say for instance, if it's spring, you got to put out the spring items. I remember one particular time I had to put out the summer items. I had to put out sandals, sunglasses, you know, the whole beach wear. She just had me going all around. I was over here, then I was over there. They intentionally did this because it was a woman that would work the register over where I was coding, and so they already told me in the interview that like if nobody is over by the area, then you have to check people out, which I was cool with. But it's crazy how all of a sudden now, and they weren't doing this in the beginning, all of a sudden now that y'all got me over here in this certain area, nobody is over by the register. But I gotta unstock boxes, I gotta arrange mannequins, I gotta hang up items, I gotta, and not only do you gotta organize, you gotta make it look presentable and nice. Even though people about to come mess it up within the next 5 minutes, you got customers coming over to you, asking you this and asking you that. Oh, do you know where this is at? Just asking a lot of questions. And so I work well up under work stress. And so I think that's another thing too that had irritated them, because they think that whatever they was doing, it wasn't really working, because I was still getting my work done. I always been a multitasker, but you're not finna play in my face though. Like, I see what y'all trying to do. Y'all want me to unstock boxes, y'all want me to bring stuff back from the back room, code it, then you want me to organize things, then you want me to check people out at the register. I signed up for merchandising and coding. I didn't sign up to be no sales associate. Yeah, I don't mind checking nobody out at the register. That's cool, but that's not what I signed up for. That's not what we talked about in the interview. And see, that's another thing too, spotting underhanded jealousy, where they give you certain tasks that was not within the job description. She clearly said, someone's gonna always be over by the register, don't worry about it, but if it do get a little too stressful, check the people out. But I started noticing that whenever they would give me all these tasks, the lady would always disappear. It's how many checkout lanes is in this store? Why is it only one worker over here by the checkout lane? Why are all these women up in this job? Why y'all ain't out here at these registers checking these people out, and y'all want me to do coding? Don't play in my face like that. Don't do that. Okay, I'm a good worker, but you're not finna overwork me. And then I gotta interact with customers too. You gotta deal with rude customers and all that type of stuff. And I was getting fed up. I was getting irritated. The lady that trained me, the one with the annoying voice. Mispronouncing someone's name is a sign of disrespect, especially when they have told you on multiple occasions how their name is pronounced. Now, I told all the people there my name. My name is Kiona. It's not Kiana. I can see people getting it mixed up because I've had people call me Kiana quite a few times, and I had to correct them like, it's Kiona. Okay? It ain't nothing really too hard about that. Kiana and Kiona. Okay, yeah, the way that my name is spelled, people can assume that it's Kiana, but it's clearly Kiona. Okay? People know what they be doing. They be purposely trying to say your name wrong. Kiona, not Kiana. Do you see the letters in the vowels and how you sound it out? And you went to school, right? So it's Kiona. I would catch her like a couple of times. She would slip up and say Kiana, and I just be looking at her like, I could tell she was purposely doing it too. But it was this one particular day, I was done with this job. I was like, clearly they don't want me here, and I'm not going to be at a place where I'm not welcome. If you don't want me here because I'm black, then I'm not going to stay here. I'm not finna stay here and be spiritually attacked day in and day out. The money is not even worth it. Okay, I can clearly go get a job somewhere else. I'm literally one of them type of people that if I don't like the aura, I don't like the vibes, and I'm not really too fond of the people that work there, I'm gonna quit. I'm not gonna stay there. I can go get a job in the next hour, so it really ain't no big deal to me. But like I said, when you try to give people the benefit of the doubt, you don't want to judge people, you want to get a chance to know them, and they always seem to be like how you thought they were. It was this one particular day I had caught them talking about me. Yeah, I was about to get ready and clock out. We had to clock out through this computer. These days you can clock out, punch out through your phone and stuff like that, but we had to clock out through the computer. And so I was about to clock out. The lady that hired me, she didn't know that I was in the back office. I could hear them whispering in the office, and I think they didn't know where I was, but I heard them say Kiana. It was like, oh, where's Kiana? And y'all already know how the gossiping stuff go. The minute somebody get to talking crap about somebody, they always ask where the person at. They always got to try to make sure the coast is clear before they get to talking they crap. And that's exactly what they did. I called them. I didn't even let them know that I was close around, because the way the offices was set up, they couldn't see where I was, but I heard them. My little office was close by the Sephora area, so they didn't see me. They was clearly about to start talking crap about me, but they had to see if the coast was clear or not. And that's basically how it ended, child. I ended up quitting right on the spot. I didn't give them 2-week notice or nothing. I left, and that was the last they had seen of me. That's how jealous women operate within the workplace. They have a gossiping spirit. They speak, and people don't understand that gossip is a form of witchcraft. I was going through witchcraft, heavy spiritual kind of witchcraft on that job. Jealous women are notorious for gossiping, speaking word curse witchcraft spells up over you. They will purposely create a hectic working environment for you. They will sit up and talk about you and all type of stuff. I called them dead in their church. They didn't even know that I knew that they was talking about me. I ain't confront them about nothing either. I just left quietly. And that's how you're supposed to do it. When you're dealing with any sort of envy, jealousy, workplace kind of toxicity, sometimes you got to bow out gracefully. Leave with your grace in your class and leave them jealous, envious women where they at. Don't confront them. Don't try to start no altercation. I heard y'all talking about me. What you want to do? See, this is the thing. And for the ladies that's on my channel, if you're a sister, y'all already know how this situation go. They want you to come out of character. They want you to act a certain way. You don't give them that. You don't give them any of your energy, because they always like to stereotype us as being classless. So when you walk up out of there with your class, you are the bigger person at the end of the day. It does not matter what they say. And so, yeah, hopefully I got something from this video. Hopefully it helped you in some way. Continue to protect y'all soul and spirit. And I will talk to y'all in the next video.